remember that they're changing my voice. Okay, so by now, usually if I make 4 or 5 videos back to back, I sound like, they fume me in a certain way that causes an effect. Like if you drink so much, you're going to be acting like a drunk after a while, right? If you get fumed with these particular fumes and poisons, it's in the air, it's in the clothes I wear, it seeps through, it's in the bleach, it's in the food. Okay, and everyone basically should know I'm right away from their own experiences, when they see how people are behaving and so on and so forth, right? It's like there must be something in the water effect, right? So I start sounding like a manic person, okay? And I have several people who testify that they have witnessed the fumes, and everyone in this community by now should know that that's what's going on because they've been fuming a lot of the stores. But would they play stupid? Yes. There's not that many people in the various communities I go to, especially when we're talking about Morgan Hill, which I spend a lot of time in these days, okay, especially in the mornings. So these people, right? I mean, you could go to Morgan Hill every day for a year and not come across anyone who isn't either an organized gang stalker, in a political cult, in a military group, in a police group. I mean, there is some government group that has an agreement with the state. Okay, even gangs and what have you, they have an agreement with the state to not speak about gang stalking in an authentic way. If anyone's speaking about it, other than me, it's almost certainly controlled opposition trying to confuse what's going on. Okay, it's misinformation campaigns, disinformation campaign, and even the word information, alpha shun, information, right? Information, and inform alpha shun. Okay, and foundation, found alpha shun, and consideration, consider the alpha shun. Okay, and a proclamation and a plantation, plant alpha shun, right? The breeding, the controlling the slaves' breeding. Why? Because they wanted to impair the alpha genes to make it seem like white people are naturally superior. If you don't know I'm right immediately when you hear that plantation one, my goodness, you think nobody's racist or something? Is that it? Oh man. That is, I got to laugh at you people who would get together and laugh at people like me for telling the truth about this, okay? You should feel real small right now because what you did was sick. You prey on the least of the brethren instead of doing for the least of the brethren, so to speak. That is sick. You people should be very ashamed of yourselves. I know your ancestors in the afterlife are very ashamed of you. Okay, because they might say, hey, they would have done the same thing, yeah. But some lived like 5,000 fucking years ago. And they would hope that you would have evolved to be better 5,000 years later. Okay. So, as we look at this thing, and we look at these schools, right? There was these, there's blonde chicks, and there's different chicks at these schools. Okay, and I went to like this one school in Albany for like let's see here, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, for like 4 or 5 years. Okay, and while I was there, I was shunned by every attractive female. They weren't like, wow, he's your dad's a brain surgeon and you're athletic. I was a basketball star. I'm starting to look better. And, I'm shunned by every attractive female. But also the classes were small, but still, it is a stupid problem to have. I don't think I've ever been to a summer school or any school ever where I didn't see a hot chick and say, hey, she's hot and I wish I could talk to her and talk to her on the phone and flirt with her and kiss her and whatever. Okay? But I'm shunned at all these places. I'm shunned in summer school. I'm shunned in private school. Okay? And then when I go to boarding school in high school and I score the top 1 percentile on the SSAT to get into this elite boarding school, okay, one of the top boarding schools in the country, college preparatory school, college prep, that I'm shunned there. And the heartbreak is potent. Like before I got my heart broken, I told you in one of the videos before when I was 16, I had been, rejected and shunned and so on and so forth leading up to that. So I was very sad from being heartbroken and different. And I was starting to gravitate toward a gang mentality because I'd already hung out with thugs and so on and party goers and just weed smokers and stuff like this, right? And kind of jocks and kind of people who are more, the guys who are cooler jocks, who are more likely to hang out with thugs and so on and so forth, okay, who know the various Hispanic gang members in their school and they have a certain relationship with them because they're accepted for having that kind of cool part of them, right? So when I go, to Webb, that heartbreak mixed with that kind of inclination to gravitate toward that and to give up, really overkilled the process of making it so I got bad grades. They were running psychological operations there. It was clear. I've seen government agents there. I've seen one white supremacist try to run me off the road. Run me off the road in terms of I'm walking up at the school, at the campus, it's a boarding school. Like I live there. Okay, and I'm walking. He's the son of a teacher there. He's driving super fast, and he like yells, "Rah!" and I jump off the road, and he's some crazy rock and roll guy with problems, and for whatever reason, they like knew he drove fast at times, and they let him continue to be there. Okay. It's other time I'm walking down the street. There's a bunch of white supremacists. It's probably what they are. It's a simple answer. A bunch of white guys in 2 cars or whatever. One of them flips me off, right? And he's looking at me hella hard. He's like, flip me off hella hard. I'm like, man, what the fuck? I'm just walking down the street, right? And that's L.A. and Claremont and the L.A. area for you. There's a bunch of white people in the outskirts who are racist, right? Orange County is not far from, L.A., has the highest concentration of skinheads historically in America. So there's a bunch of white racist scum everywhere, a bunch of white racist cops, so on and so forth. And again, I'm not racist, I'm part white. My mom's white, love my mother, okay, cared about my white family growing up, what have you. Okay, I'm not this kind of, I'm the type of guy that, for lack of a better term, within reason, I shake things off. Within reason, I turn the other cheek, right? So I am divinely vengeful, but I'm also very forgiving, and it lines up with wisdom. However, if it is right and it is wise and it's consistent with a great warrior who's wise and loyal to God, then that's what it is. That's what I believe, and that's what I go out of my way to do. Okay. So while I'm there, right, keep in mind this is the 90s, folks. This is the 90s in the LA area. Boarding school is some bitch-made shit. Okay, but the surrounding area, there's blood gangs and Crip gangs from the surrounding areas, right? Pomona, right? Pasadena, okay? There's guys from LA in general that just float through there to clash with their rivals over there. I mean, it may as well be fucking Englewood in some ways, because we're not far from gang areas, and these gangs will drift out of their area a little bit to avoid the heat, right? If they're going to go smoke weed at the park, they might say, let's go to a different park today, right? And that sends them out here and there, and so on and so forth. And in fact, there's gangs like in Malibu, the Malibu's Locals, who were formed to keep these gang members who are known to drift out of their area into the surrounding areas from coming there and feeling comfortable. They claim that they would challenge the Crips and Bloods from LA and keep them out of the city, which is hogwash. They would have just gotten shot up and killed, and they would have stopped. But they throw that out there, unless the Mexican mafia would have backed them up, and that's a different story. But it's stupid for them to claim that. It's like Malibu's Most Wanted, right? Isn't that a movie, right? Malibu's Most Wanted, right? It's like these guys are like, we checked, the 60s or something. Like, it's not going to happen, right? They're not going to tolerate that madness. Okay, and if you show them up and you jump them there, they're probably going to come back and and you're going to regret it. So it was stupid, right? But I've had gang members run up, not running literally, but come up on me and hit me up. Where you from? There's 40 of them. That's one of the more significant events that took place, because this is in the 90s, and there's like 40 guys at the Burger King over there in Claremont. And, it was some number like that. Maybe it was just 25 or something. There was a lot of them, right? And so some of them come out, and they're serious, and they hit me up, right? And I'm probably, 14 and 15 at the time, probably 14, and one of them was these are Crips and Bloods who are aligned together, apparently. One of them was wearing all cowboy stuff. One was wearing a red plaid, and he looked like a Blood, It wasn't just a Crip wearing red, right? He had that kind of way about him. And one was another guy, right? I think he was wearing cowboy outfit too. And I think he was wearing blue gloves and a cowboy outfit. The other one was wearing black gloves and the red plaid. And the other one was this Samoan and black looking guy who had a cowboy's jacket on. And so they're like, where you from? And I'm like, okay, we're here from a boarding school, okay? And I'm from San Jose, and the guy with, he's a white kid I was with, we're both wearing dark colored hooded sweater and khaki pants. I'm like, he's from San Francisco, I'm from San Jose. And they looked at us like they didn't know where the fuck those places were. That's strange, right? They act like they didn't know where it was. I can understand not knowing where San Jose was, but they act like they didn't know where San Francisco was. So they're looking at me like they're oblivious.